Ever found yourself staring at the Newton app, ready to dive into the world of crypto, and a little voice in the back of your head whispers, "Is there a limit to how much I can actually buy?" You're not alone. It's a question that pops up for beginners and even those who've been navigating the crypto landscape for a while, especially when using platforms like Newton. Think about it. You've done your research, maybe a particular cryptocurrency has caught your eye, or you see a promising dip in the market. You're ready to invest, but then the thought creeps in, can I just buy as much as I want? Are there hidden restrictions that could put a damper on your crypto ambitions? In traditional finance, limits are commonplace. Banks have daily transfer limits, brokerage accounts might have restrictions on certain types of trades, and so on. So, it's natural to wonder if the same applies to cryptocurrency exchanges like Newton. After all, these platforms are facilitating the exchange of digital assets, and they operate within a regulatory environment, even if that environment is still evolving. Imagine the frustration of finally deciding to make a significant purchase, only to be met with a notification saying you've hit your limit. It can be incredibly disheartening and potentially cause you to miss out on an opportunity. That's why understanding the buying limits on a platform like Newton is crucial for anyone serious about investing in cryptocurrency in Canada. So, let's dive deep into this. What exactly are the buying limits on Newton? Are they fixed, or do they vary? What factors influence these limits, and are there ways to potentially increase them? We'll explore all of this and more to give you a clear picture of what to expect when buying crypto on Newton. First and foremost, it's important to understand that cryptocurrency exchanges, including Newton, often implement buying limits for a variety of reasons. These reasons can range from regulatory compliance and security protocols to risk management and ensuring fair access for all users. One of the primary drivers behind these limits is regulatory compliance. In Canada, like many other jurisdictions, financial institutions and cryptocurrency platforms are subject to regulations aimed at preventing money laundering and terrorist financing. These regulations often require platforms to implement Know Your Customer (KYC) and anti-money laundering (AML) procedures, which can include setting transaction limits based on a user's verification level. Security is another crucial factor. By implementing buying limits, platforms like Newton can mitigate the risk of large-scale fraud or unauthorized transactions. If a user's account is compromised, these limits can help to minimize the potential financial damage. Risk management is also a key consideration for the exchange itself. Large, sudden purchases can sometimes impact the market price of certain cryptocurrencies, especially those with lower liquidity. By setting limits, Newton can help to maintain a more stable trading environment for all its users. Finally, these limits can also help ensure fair access to the platform's services. Without any restrictions, a few large players could potentially dominate the market and make it difficult for smaller investors to participate. Now, let's get down to the specifics of Newton's buying limits. It's important to note that these limits are not always static and can be subject to change based on various factors, including your account verification level and the prevailing market conditions. Therefore, the most up-to-date information will always be available within your Newton account or on their official website. Generally, Newton employs a tiered system for transaction limits, which is common practice among cryptocurrency exchanges. These tiers are typically linked to the level of identity verification you have completed. The more information you provide and the higher your verification level, the higher your transaction limits are likely to be. For users with basic verification, the buying limits are usually lower. This initial tier allows new users to get started with the platform and make smaller purchases while Newton verifies their identity. These limits might be on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. For instance, a newly registered and minimally verified account might have a daily buying limit of a few hundred Canadian dollars. As users complete higher levels of verification, such as providing government-issued identification and proof of address, their account limits are typically increased. This allows more active traders and those looking to invest larger amounts to do so more conveniently. The specific thresholds for these higher tiers can vary, but they could range from several thousand to tens of thousands of Canadian dollars per day or per week. It's also worth noting that these limits might apply to individual transactions as well as cumulative purchases over a specific period. For example, you might have a maximum amount you can spend in a single order and a separate limit on the total amount you can buy within a 24-hour period or a calendar month. Furthermore, the type of cryptocurrency you are buying could potentially influence the limits. While Newton generally applies consistent limits across most of the cryptocurrencies they offer, there might be exceptions for less liquid or more volatile assets. In such cases, the platform might impose lower buying limits to manage risk. Market conditions can also play a role in how Newton sets or adjusts its buying limits. During periods of high market volatility or unusual trading activity, the platform might temporarily adjust these limits as a precautionary measure to protect its users and the stability of its platform. These adjustments are usually communicated to users through the app or via email. So, how can you find out the specific buying limits for your Newton account? The most reliable way is to check directly within the Newton app or on their website after logging in. Typically, this information can be found in the Account, Limits, or Verification sections. Here, you should be able to see your current verification level and the corresponding transaction limits for buying, selling, and withdrawing cryptocurrencies. If you find that your current buying limits are too restrictive for your investment goals, the next step is usually to complete the higher levels of identity verification. This typically involves providing additional personal information and documentation as requested by Newton. The platform will guide you through this process, and once your verification is complete, your limit should be automatically increased. In some cases, if you have a legitimate need for even higher buying limits beyond the standard tiers, you might be able to contact Newton's customer support to discuss your situation. While there's no guarantee that your limits will be increased, especially if it doesn't align with their risk management and regulatory obligations, it's always worth inquiring. Be prepared to provide detailed information about your trading activity and the reasons for your request. It's also important to be aware of any potential fees associated with buying cryptocurrencies on Newton. While Newton often highlights its zero commission trading, it's crucial to understand that they do charge a spread, which is the difference. With that said, thanks for watching and until next time.